Episode 1, man. Birds of the Same Feather podcast. Yo, episode 1 was crazy, dog. We had Pat in the building, bro. Yo, Pat, thank you so much for being my first guest, man. Yo, Pat is crazy, dog. Like, his mindset, my nigga, is just like Pat is OD, man. And I really hope y'all fuck with this episode, man. Pat was just giving us game, like, you know what I mean? Like mindset. He dove a little bit into his real estate, you know, because he got his first rental property. So if anybody wants to connect with him and, you know, pretty much just ask him questions, like if you want to start your own type of real estate portfolio, you could hit him up and, you know, y'all can network. But this is what it's all about, man. Black excellence, man. Black excellence. So keep it locked.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, bro. Episode 1, this is cool.
Episode 1, man. First episode, man. I'm really honored to have you on this. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think you said that you would look at my Twitter posts and like you know that we had like kind of like the same mindset. And then so when you hit me up, I was like that's crazy because my mother used to always tell me this, like birds of the same feather flock together. So like when you hit me up, I was like, yo, that shit is really true, man. Shit is really true. So I'm really glad that you hit me up, man. And when we can make this connection and you know get this shit out to the people, bro.
Yeah, man. So yeah, like I don't really go on like social media too much, but when I do, I'm really just there on like on some like entertainment shit, see see what people are saying. People say some crazy stuff on Twitter, Facebook, all that. So I'm just there to get a laugh. Um, and then, but also with social media, you have a chance to see how people think or how people express themselves. So Twitter, people express themselves through, what they say and, retweet and stuff. And Instagram, people express themselves through their, their posts, through photos and videos and whatnot. So, and yeah, when I seen that, it like no one is talking about 401ks or, you know, stocks or anything like that if if they're not interested in it or anything like that, right? And then especially the way you were saying it, what I'm saying it came from a like open your eyes sort of tone, right,
Mhm.
to what's going on. And to me that read like, oh, Mike's conscious of what's going
Now I'm
on.
woke, bro.
And then I was just like, there's also just levels to it. And so I was like, oh, this is an opportunity just to like chop it up with someone, who I was going to Stony Brook with, had a relationship with and stuff like that. And so, yeah, that's how that kind of like my mindset when I before I hit you up.
And something else I wanna delve into before we get into the questions is like social media is really like what you kind of allow, kind of sort of thing. Like if I was to go on someone on my girl's page, like if I was to go on her Instagram, if I scroll through, I'll see certain things that I probably won't see on mine. So like it's really what you know allow yourself to be surrounded with. You know, people who love video games. If you go on their social media, you'll see a lot of posts about video games and stuff. People who are interested in this, you'll see a lot of posts about that.
No, it's so funny you brought that up. And so here's and like I want to have a conversation on this too, right? Social media is what like you said, right? You see kind of what you're interested in, but at the same time, if you were on social media back in high school, like you know what I mean, like when Instagram first started, when Facebook first started, Twitter first started, you probably had friends where, I mean, you were just trying to, you'll follow me back, and what I'm saying, just
Yeah,
anyone that was
yeah,
in your class and stuff like that, right? And so if you look at that over a 10-year time period, right? And you look back on who's on your Instagram and things like that. Well, at least for me, this is my experience. Some of the stuff you just can't rock with, right? Or you just can't get down with, or resonate with, right? And you have people on there that you're like, I don't really like that doesn't really resonate with like how I think and
people
so
change,
like
bro. You know what I mean?
people change, right? But that's the interesting thing about people, right? Because you're like, man, this person was like this, and now they're like this, right? And something had to happen. But going back to the part of it, just like curating what you kind of like take in, that's kind of why. made a whole separate like Instagram at one point, like during the pandemic too, because I kind of wanted to control what I like take in from social media. Like I have my, page where, I have my friends and stuff, but I kind of wanted to just, what if I kind of wanted to just immerse myself in everything that I wanted to be and everything I'm interested in. So yeah, that's just a good point you bring up because it really is like if you're surrounded by people clubbing, you're gonna want to get interested in
That's all you
clubbing.
can always
If you're
do.
not, yeah, right.
Exactly. You got to move away from that type of. You got to mute those type of people sometimes. Like you don't need all that.
Exactly.
That's
If what you're not if you're taking in something that isn't aligned with your goals, it's not gonna work out.
so. I just want to talk a little bit about your upbringing, like where you from, what were your like kind of ideals when you used to grow up and stuff like that.
Yeah. So grew up kind of traveled I would say a lot growing up. But single parent household, Jamaican household, strict household, um, go to school. I don't care if you're sick. I know this is weird now because it's a pandemic, but unless you can't move, you're going to school.
Yeah. No days, perfect attendance. No, no days.
Oh, my missing no days. And so, I always took, education seriously and school seriously. But at the same time, in the same breath, like I was a class clown since I could remember, right? I'm talking about even, first grade. I just wanted to make people laugh and, joke around with them. And I still have that personality today. And so, yeah, never really missed school. And then when I was at school, I was just, joke around with people, but also, staying focused because I always had the, you know, being from a single parent household and just like not always having money to do everything you
Have
wanted
that
to
extra
do.
pressure automatic.
Yeah, I was very money conscious at a young age. And just, kind of just have my own questions about it. But so with that being said, I grew up with like a saver's mentality. My mom was a big saver. And then I also grew up with the mentality of like, you know, kind of like ownership in terms of real estate. So, growing up, your education is, or kind of like when it comes to like investing and stuff, is limited by for for a large amount of time around who you're around. And I was really just around kids, right, my age, and then my mom, like as the adult. Um, and yeah, but yeah. So and when it came to like things to do, um, I just had the whole like, doctor, lawyer, that sort of thing.
Yeah. What was she telling you when you were younger about, college and becoming a man and stuff like that? As a Caribbean.
Honestly, yeah. Honestly, what's funny is my mom, like, she had a very different look on certain things. I guess because her relationship with her siblings and her parents, um, I would just say it's unique. Like, right, they had good times and bad times or whatnot. But um, my mom was really focused on one, like being happy. Like you can have money, but if you're not happy, that I don't really find that as successful. She really cares about like our well-being and shit like that. And so, if we were getting money, but then we're doing drugs and then just not living right or righteously and stuff like that, like she wouldn't really want to really look us in the eye or anything like that, right? And so with that being said, happiness came first, but then she would always like she's a clown, so she would always talk about like she kind of wanted me to be a doctor, right?
Yeah. I already know.
Yeah, she would, what I'm saying, oh, I can get this done, whatever connections or whatever, so be a doctor. And I was like, all right, cool, like I'll be a doctor. I didn't really care, like
Yeah.
um I never thought I wouldn't be successful really growing up, because it was just always on my mind, like try to do good and or whatnot, but just have fun doing it. And yeah, like it was literally just like happiness and fun throughout the whole like journey of whatever success was
That's
for
a
me.
great point that you bring up, saying that she wanted you to be a doctor. So when you got to college, what was your mentality like? Did you like, all right, I'm just gonna take all these science classes, or I'm gonna search for myself?
Bro, actually, so it wasn't until high school is when she kind of like was like, oh, this kid is doing like anything, right? Because um high school is when I started to get the ability. So high school is when I moved. No, middle school is when I moved to New York. So like I said, I moved around a little bit. So I was in Florida and Georgia from pretty much pre-K to like middle school, like half of middle school. Then the rest of middle school, I did that from in New York. Did high school in New York, college in New York, obviously,
Okay.
right? And so with like I'm a big I like taking advantage, or I think I have the ability to see opportunity, right? And coming to New York, I realized there's a lot of opportunity. Um,
Mhm.
and here's what I mean by that, right? Like I went to a pretty bad high school, right? They would quote unquote call it a bad high school. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
went to
yeah, city
Springfield,
shit, man.
you know what I mean? Right? But the stuff I did in high school, the things I had access to, well, if you kind of just, you know, just went the extra mile a little bit, and I don't even think it was too much, right? Too much to like kind of like put together a resume. Like I thought it was lit. Like I thought it was cool. I felt like I was a man,
Oh,
putting
yeah.
my resume together. Yeah, like at 14 and applying and stuff. So, with that being said, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to one make money, but I'm a person who likes to try things. So in high school, I did like 8 different programs. I did stuff on architecture. When I thought I wanted to be an architect, couldn't draw straight lines, so that was out the window. But here's the thing: I
Yeah.
did everything I thought I wanted to do. Did programs with occupational therapy, physical therapy. I was like, yo, this I can get down with this. Thought it was lit. Did programs. Met great people in everything I did though. So that was and like I said, I had fun throughout the whole time. And then I did this program that was like coding software. Like
Mhm.
then I was like, oh, this is lit. Oh, they get this amount. I love computers, anyways, right? Like when I was 10 and 12, like I was taking apart my mom's computer, deleting files, and how to restore shit. Yeah, so I was always connected in technology, and I was like, I didn't know there was really like another layer to this when it comes to technology in terms of high paying, right? Like you have software engineers now making as much as lawyers and doctors, which is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
You know what's
Yeah, man.
interesting? I don't want to cut you off, but you said that your mother always wanted you to be a doctor, but you yourself, you did your own type of research to see what you actually like. See, that's
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes I feel like that's an issue. You know, your parents will tell you, "Hey, I want you to be this and that." You know what I mean? But
Hmm.
then it's like you didn't ask me if I want to do that. So then I
Yeah,
get to college,
exactly.
it's like, damn, I don't really like this, like whatever I'm doing, you know what I mean? And then you just
Yeah,
decide to drop out. Now you're like 21. Now you're looking for stuff you're interested in while you're
hmm
working, a part-time job. And like, it's like, you know what I mean? So I really like that you actually started off. Your mom said, hey, I want you to be a doctor. You're like, okay, but I'm going to look at other stuff. Yeah.
absolutely, bro. And so here's the thing too about me. Like I'll give you like example of like how it still like holds true. Um, um, I played soccer for like 8 years straight. Like ever since I was like little, I just played soccer, bro. And I kind of knew I was going to. That was like at that time, right? Like I was very conscious that I'm pretty nice at soccer. Like I'm gonna go to college playing soccer. Um, I had letters to go play in England and shit like that. But this is like I'm like 11 and 12. But also, here's the thing about my situation. My mom couldn't travel outside of the U.S. because she didn't have like a visa and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
She's from Jamaica, the
Yeah.
whole thing, right? Um, and so that was a dub. But I was just like, damn, it would be lit to play in England, right? I loved Wayne Rooney growing up, and I was like, but just being with my family was the most important thing. And then going back to like just how my mom thinks about the whole like happiness and stuff, like literally, so imagine that like a person who was always at your games, supported you. We didn't have a lot of money, but I always had soccer cleats, shin guards, like the whole nine, had money to go to practice and stuff like that. And then when we got to New York, I was like, I don't want to do soccer anymore, right? And so she was like, all right, cool. And like
Yeah.
it was it, right? Yeah. And that was it. Like and I just started getting to my whole like career bag. Like I moved away from sports, kind of just went into career thing. And I the underlying tone of all of that was like do kind of like happiness, but also just follow my own path, right?
Hmm.
And I'm glad like I kind of got that freedom to do that because not everyone, has that freedom. Even if they get to do their own thing, there may be people within their family around them saying like, "Oh man, you're crazy for doing that.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
gave up on this." And yeah, bro, it's crazy.
Like, I feel like when it comes to like certain, parents, like they just have to make sure that whatever they're trying to tell their child to do, that they actually want to do it, and it kind of be like a partnership, not like a tyrant, like a dictatorship,
Hmm.
like, hey, like, just do this. Like, if you can kind of like, it's just like, for example, I don't want to get too much off topic, but like basketball players,
No, go ahead. Yeah.
typically when they have kids, their kids want to play basketball too. It's not because
Hmm.
they're forcing them to play basketball. You just see your dad always playing basketball, so you're gonna want to play
Hmm.
basketball. It's like if
Hmm.
you're a parent and you have a job, because my mom, she cleans up hotels, so this is not to slight anybody's parents, but like if you're
My mom
doing
did
that
that
type,
too.
exactly, like if you're doing that type of job and you're telling me to be like this doctor or lawyer, like what am I really going off of? Because it's not like you're doing it, you know what I mean? So it's
Hmm.
kind of like, why why not like
Yeah.
encourage me to explore, or put me in programs that'll spark my interest, so now you ain't gotta
Yeah.
tell me nothing, I want to do it myself. So
Yeah.
that's
And
just.
even on that topic of just like parents and like how they think about it, I think it's something that holds true with you know African parents, Caribbean parents, but also white parents. The rich white parents. Think about this, right? It's ego. When you if your success is based on if you as a parent are viewing your success based on, and to some level most parents do, right,
Mhm.
on the success of your kids, you're going to put some amount of pressure on them to do what others think is successful,
Mhm.
right? It's the same thing why these rich, wealthy, actors and whoever are getting jail time, mind you, like 2 months, right? But for, trying to get
Yeah,
their
get
kids
their
into
kids to
Harvard and,
college. Yeah, yeah.
right? The kids that you hear the interviews with the kids are like, man, I didn't even want to go to college, like I didn't want to go to Harvard, like what I mean. But their parents force that on them because their parents can't go to the golf club, country club, knowing that their kid is going to like whatever school. I don't want to shout
Yeah,
out any
yeah, yeah,
schools just
whatever. Yeah, yeah.
like right? But it's the same thing, right? Like another parent can't say, "Oh, my son is started a even if it's his own company. Oh, he's doing car washes or something like that." Because to the people who they're talking to, they're like, "He's doing some car wash shit. Like, he's not a doctor. He's not." So it's just all about ego and like parents getting rid of that ego and just being like, just focus on the happiness of your child and stuff like that. Like that's the best thing. Like they will be successful in their own regard.
And just to go to the next question while still
Yeah.
staying on that, is like, you really kind of like did that, like you kind of did the perfect type of progression, like you had options, so you really looked for yourself at a young age too, before
Hmm.
like you were in college, which is kind of like, when you go to college is college, then you got to kind of get a career at that point. For you, once you graduated from Stony Brook, what degree did you get, and what job did you get after you got your degree?
And before I jump into that, I just want to say like I don't think and like like I like talking to high schoolers. I like talking to my little brother. I like and I like telling the message of look like college isn't the end all be all. And if you don't have a plan going into college, it can feel like why am I here? I think I did a lot of searching and saw that college made sense for me. I looked at it as a flip. I looked, literally like buying a shoe for 100 and selling it for 200. It's the same
Same
thing.
thing.
I looked at, college education, right? Stony Brook University, I was able to get free tuition to go to school and only had to pay for room and board. I calculated that for loans, it was probably I would have came out like maybe like 30K or so, in terms of just like room and board and all that sorts of stuff. Then I was like, okay, you can also be an RA and all this other stuff to cut that down, right? So I was like, if I can flip this $30,000 loan into a career that will generate, be able to knock this out, no problem. It's free money, and that's just how I looked at it. And so, came in Stony Brook, thought I was gonna do computer science, but ended up graduating with a bachelor of science in information systems, with a concentration in business and economics. Um, when I graduated, I thought I was going to do data science, but then ended up taking this a gamble on this rotational program at Google, and yeah. So now I did the whole rotation thing, did it for like a year and a half, and then when I got out of the program, long story short, now I'm a solution engineer, which is like a mixture of sales engineering and like even like UX, but the whole like kind of just I know this is like a fancy title or whatnot, but what I do is I kind of just help explain to businesses the value of like cloud technology and why Google is the best place to run those cloud workloads and things like that. Like if to some people that's like that doesn't make sense or whatever, I just want to say like so Stony Brook, right? We had Gmail, like it said Stony Brook, but it was Gmail when we had our email
At
like
Stony
interface,
Brook
right?
.edu or whatever. That was
Right, but
Gmail.
when you logged in, it looked like Gmail, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So imagine for that to happen, someone had to come to Stony Brook, right, or talk to the IT department and say, it's better to run your thing on Gmail because it's secure, XYZ versus
So it could have been like Yahoo
Microsoft
or
or
something.
Yahoo. Exactly,
Oh,
right?
yeah, I got you.
Right. And so that's kind of what I do. I explain the value of why it would make sense to come on Google, whether it's Gmail or whether it's our cloud platform. But yeah, there you go.
Oh, that. Yo, bro, I didn't even like. I never even made that connection. I was just like, it's just email, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? We kind of just log into stuff and be like, whatever. It's just my college email.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. But the reason why I started this podcast is basically just to spread knowledge about wealth and about wealth building. Long term, not quickly. We want to build this for long term for generations. You know what I mean? And when Patrick hit me up, it was just like, yo, this dude's a genius. We had a phone conversation. Yo, I literally got off the train and I walked home because I was like, yo, we're about to have this conversation. I know it's gonna be 40 minutes and I know it's gonna be gems. I just got off the train. I was like, I'm walking. So like I just yo, seriously, I walked 40 minutes because I knew it was gonna be a great conversation. But I just want you to get into financial freedom. What does that mean to you, and how are you taking steps to achieve that in the future?
I mean, even as you said, the word financial freedom kind of got goosebumps, right? Because financial freedom, honestly, in this world is the ultimate freedom. Um, it's you know, unfortunate. Well, this is how I think currently right now. It's the freedom that a lot of us are looking for, is what I would say, right?
Oh, they talk about Instagram. Like this post, you get $1 million.
Like seriously, all these like Bitcoin scams and all this, like the whole world, no matter if you're rich or like, part of life is to first be like financially free, like and stable, right? Like I remember growing up and it was just like, yo, conversations, between, I guess before I kind of like woke up, really, it was like, yo, I just want to be stable, right? Like, wouldn't that be fire? Like, if you just grew up stable.
That's it. Like, I just wanted like an extra 1,000 after every check or something.
Oh man, like, wouldn't it be great to never have to worry about bills and just if when my kids want to go somewhere, we can go, right? Like, that was just how I thought, right? But then, like, financial freedom also means that you don't have a boss. You don't have anyone telling you what time to come in. You don't have anyone telling you that's not good enough or anything like that, right? And honestly, that's what we're all looking for. We want to be able to be autonomous, meaning do whatever we want, go wherever we want, not talk to people, not talk to family, or talk to them, right? Or be able to kind of uplift our families, right? Because of just where we come from. And so that's part of it, right?
Mhm.
And I can say like I'm 100% conscious that there's a just because you have money and you're financially free does not always mean you're going to be happy. But for the most part, I my whole life I focused on being happy first, and then this financial piece kind of added to that. So now I'm just like dumb happy.
It comes with it comes
Yeah,
with it. You know what I mean? When you're happy, it's like it just follows. You know what I mean? It just follows you.
exactly. And
And it's
so to
kind
kind
of
of like answer, yeah, go ahead.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
Now I just
Now
want
this
to
is
like
you.
wrap it
Go
up in
ahead.
terms of just answer your question, man. So financial freedom to me, man, is just the ultimate freedom, right? To kind of do whatever I want, help my family, bring them, some sort. Because a lot of family problems, you know, what's the saying? Like money doesn't solve all the problems, but it solves your money problems. Like for the most
Yeah.
part, black people, we have problems, and a lot of that problem could be solved with money.
Stems from
To be honest,
money. Yeah.
especially if we think about just why people, you know, even like this, people feeling insecure and stuff like that, right? Like that's generations of just like trauma passed down. And, going, how I see the next couple of years is like more of us getting financially free, more of us getting access to capital and wealth and being able to say like, mom, dad, grandpa, let's get some therapy going. I'll cover it. I just commit to it a couple of days a week. Yo, mom, like, I just bought y'all this house. You know, y'all was paying 2 grand for rent. Yo, pay 500, and we can own this together, right? Like that's and like it starts to, after you kind of get this like you start caring about a lot of stop caring about a lot of other stuff that didn't really matter and that people are arguing over. Like I got family in Jamaica arguing about a water bill. Like that's that should not be
An issue. You know.
why y'all don't talk to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
So what steps have you taken on your journey to get there?
it takes a lot of you have so if you can learn a lot of things, you can also unlearn a lot of things. And so it took a lot of that learning and unlearning, right? I had a good I had a good financial base, and when I say that, I just mean like one of the crucial financial bases is budgeting and understanding don't spend more than you had and stuff like that. I also had credit at a younger age because, like I said, my mom was very conscious of credit, and so she
She
had put me on as a
like a
what's it
bill
called,
or something.
authorized user. Yeah,
Okay,
right.
okay,
And
okay,
so
okay.
I had credit at 18, had my own credit card. I understood since I understood budgeting, I had my own credit card and I knew not to go over certain limits and all that certain stuff, right?
Mhm.
But there's layers to this wealth thing, and I think I only even like
You
I
didn't even
tapped it a little bit.
exactly.
Yeah, like
It's just a little
there's
like
levels,
yeah, yeah.
there's
It's
levels. Um, and so man, like literally, I got like, bro, books, bro,
well,
like
well, I'm
books.
telling you, people nowadays, bro, they think like you gotta just like there's always you always need experience. Obviously, you need experience. Experience is the best teacher. But why not read about someone else's mistakes so that you can formulate your own ideas and say, hey, he did that, it didn't work too good. Let me tweak it a little bit. People just want to, they don't want to do any research. I remember I was telling
No.
somebody on Twitter, I was like, yo, try reading more books about the topic that you're interested in. He said, no. Somebody else comes and no, don't read, just do it. Experiences. I'm like, yo, like you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Like,
It's ridiculous, and that's the kind of mentality that kind of keeps us ignorant, right? And I just don't have time for that shit. But also, I'm not gonna judge anyone, right? I'm not gonna be on any of the social media arguing with anyone about
no, 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 we're not
their
doing
viewpoints, right?
it. Yeah.
Right. And, and 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 that's exactly like um, when it comes to tapping information from other people. Look, I kind of grew up after like 12 or so. Besides my friend group, I liked hanging out with older people. And then when I got to high school, I started doing that more because, I had a job in high school. So I always wanted to tap like my managers or my bosses' mind
See
about
where
just
your head is at.
various topics, how they think. Yeah. And college was no different, right? When I got, honestly, Stony Brook, like, I look back and I just smile all the time, right? Because it's literally like, and it's really just had to do with my perspective of how I saw it. But man, like, I saw people on USG. So I'm like, oh, there's people that are getting into politics. I saw seniors getting jobs before they even graduated.
Yeah,
Saw clubs, Nesby people are VP, they were presidents of clubs, all this stuff. And I'm like, this is lit. Like, I'm literally on campus with these people 24/7 in a community, in like a bubble,
yeah, yeah.
right? Like, let me tap in. Like, let me, like, how'd you do that, right? Like, I'm mad curious about just, like, to me, like, success wasn't just one thing, right? Like, I saw people being successful in so many different ways. I just wanted to, like, just tap in, and just, like, I just respect it. I get inspired by that, right? And so that was me, right? I tapped into my network of friends who were doing, just good things, and I was like, yo, I just want to learn. And they
Yeah.
saw the grind in me, so that's probably why it wasn't a problem. Like, yo, come through, like. And then books again was just another like level to that, right? I can't believe like I didn't like to read. Like, the amount of knowledge I got from books, I was like, if I had read this at like 13,
Yo,
14,
I'd be
like,
crazy right
you
now.
know, I was reading like Captain Underpants, like, who
Stupid
doesn't,
shit, right?
you know what I mean,
Put
right?
in, buy some bullshit, whatever.
Right.
Turn it.
Yeah, goosebumps, right?
Yeah,
Like,
stupid
oh
shit.
man, right? And so I'm just like, yo, everything I ever wanted was in here. I remember senior year, my car had gotten into an accident, and I was living off campus. I had to walk from the house to South P. So we did like 30-minute walk. But I mean, I started a junior year, but I like no Snapchat, no Instagram, no social media. I literally was just listening to podcasts about business, entrepreneurship, real estate,
That's what I'm
music that
doing
would just get
now.
me up, and
Yep,
then
exactly.
that was it. That was it. Like, and I'm waking up 6:30. I'm walking because I got to get to the library, and I
Exactly.
just had a set schedule. Like, I just wasn't with
Bro,
any bullshit really.
this is what I noticed, bro, about music. And I love music, but it's just like you listen to the same two, three. Bro, I could be on an hour train ride. I'm listening to the same couple songs. So it's just like, why not? Like, because like usually when there's educational podcasts, they're not gonna be 10 minutes or 12 minutes. They're gonna be like
An
55,
hour. Yeah.
yeah, minutes an hour. So I'm like, I might as well just, learn some game while I'm on the train. Like, why not? You know what I mean? And I work out a lot, so I use the music
Hmm.
to work out. But like other than that, like I'm trying to learn things, trying to know how I can, dive into certain things. So this is just gonna go into my next question. How have you looked at real estate, as a means for wealth, and have you done anything in real estate so far, or do you plan to do anything?
Yeah, man. So, like I said, I take advantage of the opportunities. I was learning about real estate, during my senior year of high school, just soaking it all in, understanding the mortgage side, understanding the buying side, understanding the rental side, understanding the management side. Like, I wanted to know everything to see, like, do I see myself doing any of this? Understanding real estate markets, New York versus Atlanta versus Texas versus whatever, right? Because when I was graduating, like, or just period, like, I was open. This is part of like my growing up, right? I moved around a lot, so I didn't really have that mindset. You hear a lot of people from New York, man, I can't leave New York, right? I didn't have that mindset.
Oh,
I was
see,
like, yo, I'm going anywhere the bread
yeah,
is bread
yeah,
is at, you know, sort of like the mercenary. And so, I kind of had to have like an overall understanding because I could be in any state, upon graduation. And then so happened I was gonna be in Texas. I was either gonna be in Houston or Austin. That were like those are my strongest possibilities based on the job offers I had got, right? And my favorite job offers, I would say. And I was like, yo, Houston is popping for real estate, but so is Austin. And then when I did the rotational program in Austin,
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I would have to potentially move out of Austin after the end of the rotation because there was, you come out of the rotational program and then you have a couple roles, couple jobs, right? But those jobs were in different Google offices, right? And so I could be in California, but I could also be in New York or Atlanta or whatever, right?
Okay.
So I knew one. I said I'm in Austin for at least for a year and a half. I also know that the Austin market is booming. And we can talk about this later. We can talk about the pandemic. There's Austin is like property values have been going up, right? While
Yep.
you hear California and New York where rent has been coming down, right?
Yep.
And some of these values like they're peaking, right? And so Austin has still been going like this. But anyways, back in 2018, 2019, I was like, man, I just got to tap into this real estate market while I'm here because at the end of the day, one, real estate is a long-term thing. So if I buy it now, I'm not trying to flip this, right? And then two, there's certain things that I can take advantage of to get this property that is going to be an investment property
Mm-hmm.
for like a low down payment. So yeah, man.
Bro,
So
I'm
within
sorry.
a year,
I just want to say this real quick. Pat, how old are you?
just turned 24.
I just wanted to say that because I hear a lot of people that I know saying, "Oh, like I just want to do this first before I," because some people, they're in school, they might be working a part-time job,
Hmm.
got to study and stuff, and people will just neglect an opportunity and just give an excuse that because they have these things going on, they don't have time to focus on this. Now,
Yeah.
you were 24 right now, and when you did that, when you were thinking about investing in Houston, how old were you?
Oh, I was like probably like 20, 21.
You were 2021 thinking
Yeah, I
about
didn't graduate
investing
yet.
in
Yeah.
markets. You know what I mean? So like you were just so ahead of the game, bro. And that just and you also had work. You were an RA. You had information systems classes that you had to get done. You
Yeah.
were worrying about money, paying bills. So it's not that people don't really tap into like the extent of their mind, in my opinion, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. It's like you can do so many things. The human mind can do so many things. You just gotta push it to get there.
Yes.
Like what?
I
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, no, no. I just want to say like 100% agree with that. Literally, like we can literally do anything, right? And I I don't think that's told to people enough, right? Like my senior year, I did, while studying for interviews and stuff like that, I had three jobs and my classes, right? And I had, but I didn't think I couldn't do it. I just knew that I couldn't do a lot of other stuff. Like I couldn't hang out a lot, or I couldn't do that. But it was an easy sacrifice for me. Like you know what I mean?
I
Yeah.
love that you said that. I love that you said that. It's like I could. There's things that'll keep me busy, right? But it'll prevent me from doing things that probably won't really do anything for me. You know what I mean? So it's like people gotta just give up those things. It's like it's only for a little bit. Like, and
Yeah.
that's not to say that you can't have fun, but it's just like certain things are unnecessary. You know what I mean? Every week
Exactly.
you don't gotta go to a club. You don't gotta spend money
Yeah.
every week. It's just wasting
Yeah.
money at that point.
Yeah. And and yeah, and we can go deeper even on that. Maybe they're searching for something that they don't have and all that
Yeah,
sorts of
yeah,
stuff.
all that
But
extra.
I want to even jump back on just like the whole like I remember talking to someone. I don't want to like put their name out there, but he was like, "Man, I'm struggling in my like I think it was like his pre-med classes or nursing classes or whatever like that." And he's like, "Yo, I don't know if I like want to do this anymore. I want to drop the major, switch over, and stuff like that." And I was like, "Yo, that's fine,
That's right.
right?" But I was like, "But if you really want to be a doctor, if you really want to be a nurse, like just deep down, don't like it's not about the classes being hard. Like that's not a thing. That's not an excuse. Like
That's not a
you
thing.
just have to lock in. Like
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
ever see that Diddy video? Lock in.
Lock in.
Like
Yeah.
you, like it. Like if you want it bad enough, you will do anything
You're gonna
to
get it.
get it. You know what I'm saying? And um, yeah, like that's just me. Like I just really wanted financial freedom, so I was just willing to do anything. And before I realized that I wanted financial freedom, like I realized that I wanted a good job coming out of college, and I wanted, to have this, and this, and whatnot. And so I just wasn't willing to compromise on those things. And I want people to kind of like have that list. What are they not willing to compromise on their journey or whatever?
So that was great. Have that list. I like that. That might be like some quotes in the title. Maybe have that. But yeah, let's go back to when 2021 and you moved to no. Did you move to Houston or you had like an
I ended
internship?
up moving. I ended up moving to Austin. I was gonna go to
Before
Houston if
then,
I
though,
took another job.
talk about the real estate that you got when you went over there and how you were going to use it and stuff like that.
Yeah, so you know, check out Grant Cardone. He opened my eyes. Like I watched some video on YouTube and he said, um, I forgot the actual quote. I think it was something like, "Rent where you want to live, and own what you rent," or something like that, right? And to me, I was
Yeah,
like, "What
yeah,
the
I
hell
heard
is this guy
that.
talking about?" Yeah, I was like, "What the hell is this guy talking about?" And he's like, "Look, man, I'm at this, house or whatever that costs, 3,000 a month, 4, 5, 10,000 a month to rent, or whatever like that.
Hmm?
And if I had bought this, I would have to worry about the maintenance and X, Y, Z, and blah blah blah. And I'm a numbers guy, I'm a math guy, and it just makes sense, right? In terms of why not own property that, why not own things that's an asset that other people are willing to pay for and will go up in value over time, instead of me personally buying and literally like spending all my money just to
To up,
maintain this
up.
lifestyle when I don't need this. Like I don't really need this all the time, like, to have like a 20 square foot house, 20,000 square foot house with,
Bad.
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like I'd rather just do that on vacation and then be comfortable when I got this cash flow coming in. So it was the same mindset, right? And I was just like, um, it was just a lot of stuff, right? I'm just trying to build the whole like understanding my mindset at the time. I was like, look, I can contribute to a 401k. I can buy some property. My thing was like, I'm gonna buy a property every year or every other year, right? And I was just like, if I continue to do this in 10 years, I'll be Gucci. If
Mhm.
I and I'll just be Gucci, right? So I was like 23, and 10 years. Let's jump it a couple, give it a couple. Maybe I had a couple bumps and bruises, and that's another thing. I was so like, listen, like I was listening to podcasts of all kinds of people. When I graduated, I was ready to grind and to like have this like tough life. Like honestly, it didn't work out like that. Like fortunately, like things went well, but I was so
You was
ready to
prepared for
like
it though.
I was just prepared for like the worst. Like I'm just like I'm going to war with this whole like system or the economy.
I,
Like
I, I,
I'm ready for it,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I was ready for like the long hours at work and stuff like that. And I was fortunate that it didn't have to go
Yeah.
like that, and it was fun the whole time. But I was like, yo, I want to do this 10 years, go super hard, 10 years, be 33, and be able to say I got maybe $3,000 to $5,000 coming in every month that I don't have to work for. And if I wanted to, I could walk away from my job and just live a comfortable life. That was like comfortable to me, right?
Mhm.
And and have the choice if I wanted to continue working. You're
Exactly.
like I don't know anyone like close, like where I can just pop. I mean, I do now, but
Hmm.
where like family members who can say, "Oh, like I can retire if I wanted to, but I'm gonna just keep working." Or I don't know anyone with that mindset that says that they don't really have to worry about bills, and they like we don't. I don't know what that's like yet to have the. It's a different mindset when you have. Imagine if you had if or your mom or your dad or whoever you had literally like 3 years of emergency fund, right? You had investments that were already $1 million, $2 million,
If
and you continue to work. You'd go to work different. You'd walk different. You'd act different,
yeah,
right?
you're
Like
not going to work.
someone saying,
I need this. It's like, yo, I want to be here,
like
whatever. Like, I want to be here, whatever.
right?
Yeah.
It's a whole different mindset. And I'm just curious to see how I would be in that mindset, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's what drives me. It's super, fun to think about as I go to sleep. Like, yo,
Like in a couple of years, I'm gonna
yeah,
be.
yeah, yeah,
So,
man.
so hold on, real quick. So, I just want to go back to how did you find the investment vehicle that you just
Okay, yeah,
yeah.
my bad. So yeah, like I said, opportunity. I got to Texas, and I was just like, I already knew kind of. I knew. Well, I got to Austin, and for the most part, already knew that it was a good place to buy real estate. People were coming in from California, New York, all these like high cost states, and they're coming to Austin because you only have to worry about the summers, really. June, July, August, 100 degrees. You just never felt anything like it. I'm like family in Jamaica, been in Jamaica. It gets hot, but there's breeze and there's
That
beaches,
breeze
right?
hit different. Like, don't do that. Like, it's really hot in Houston. Nah, I know. I know it's hot out there.
Yeah, it's hot. And so I was just like, yo, look, this makes sense for now. Like, yeah, like look, I'm super into being flexible. You got to be like water with your situation. You have to be like water. You have to be able to bend and flex and move, right? Before I graduated, I said the first year I'm gonna pay off all my student loans. When I graduated, I said, now I'm gonna pay those loans and I'm gonna focus on my 401. I'm gonna pay those loans over 10 years. I'm gonna focus on my 401k. I got to send you some shit, but I'm gonna get to it. All
Mhm.
right, I'm actually gonna contribute to my 401k. Then I was like, oh, I'm gonna be in Austin. Nah,
You
I'm gonna
know how I feel
contribute
about
X.
401ks, but go ahead. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, now I'm gonna reduce that and I'm gonna focus on, piling up cash. I'll take the tax hit. I'm gonna pile up cash so I can be able to, I calculate. I was like, yo, with 15 grand, I can buy a property that's a duplex that I can, if I end up leaving, I'll have both unit rent out, and then literally that's an investment vehicle. Think about this. You have, even if you just think about one house, maybe it's and it's worth 300 grand, right? In New York, it's way higher than that, but it's 300 grand.
Mhm.
If you have someone who's paying that off every month, you can comfortably bet in 30 years, because that's like the average loan term that most people go with, a 30-year loan on a home. You can bank on, I will have $300,000 of equity, of cash, really waiting for me
Mhm.
in 30 years. On top of that, when it's paid off, I will have the rent coming into my
Still
pocket.
coming in.
And so I was just like, I'm gonna just go buy this house, because in 30 years from now, I will have, and that's if the house doesn't appreciate, and we know real estate appreciates,
Mhm.
right? And so I was like, yo, I'm gonna just buy this house, right? Like I understood how to look for properties, and
So
shout out to my real estate mentor who saved me from, losing my shirt in this real
mentor,
estate game. Yes,
mentor,
yes.
mentor. You're not doing like I love that you said that. It's like you just can't like yeah, you can go on YouTube and you can watch 1,000 videos,
Hmm.
but it's always best to have someone who's older than you, who's done it, who you know personally, and you could connect with these guys online, I
Hmm.
guess, but I would say like it's most important to have a mentor, someone who you can talk to about stuff, who's actually done it before. So like
Hmm.
that's you need a mentor.
Literally,
That's just
I would say my mentor probably saved me maybe $30,000 in a headache. Really, like I'm talking about. I thought I knew everything. I thought I read all the books, and I thought I read all the podcasts. I was like, I'm gonna buy this 4 unit apartment right here. I already know what I'm gonna do. And she said, you know what? Come, let's go. We're gonna go look at it. And we walked through it. She said, okay. And then when we sat down, we went to Juice Land, and we sat down. And we talked about it. And she says, Patrick, her name is Mia. If anyone's in Austin, reach out to me. I'll hook you up. She's awesome, awesome company. Anyway,
Pat,
um,
Pat, we're gonna have all your stuff, so you're gonna be Gucci. They're gonna hook you up. Thanks,
bet. So I was like, she was like, Patrick, do you have 20 grand to fix the air conditioning unit because they're 10 years old and da 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 da. I said, huh? Right? Like I was not prepared for that, right? And you know, uh, it's a whole thing, but like with certain properties, you can kind of fix it up and then boost up the rent. Like I thought I was gonna, I thought I was, super smart, was gonna do this and
man. Gonna
stuff.
raise
And
the
she's
rent from
like,
300 to 1,300.
let's, yeah,
Yo,
I was about to double up on him. Nah, but no. Nah. And so yeah, so she was like, here's what I would be cautious of, and if you trust me and you let me, be a realtor in XYZ, I'll help you. I'll set you up for success because not only was she a realtor, she has skin in the game. She owns property, she manages property, she has her own lending company, right? Like she was
oh
a
yeah.
boss, right? Yeah, full on boss, and that's kind of what I wanted to be around, and it kind of just felt like God just gave me an angel,
Yeah,
because
you
I was
did,
gonna.
bro.
It's a whole story. We'll talk about it another time, but I was gonna go with another realtor.
We might have you on
Hughes is
episode
gonna be
5,
Hughes.
bro. So go ahead.
All
Yeah.
right, cool. No worries, no worries. But yeah, I'm just saying that yes, mentors are important, and it's good to just not just like believe the hype. Like there's so many gurus out there and talking heads. Like you want a mentor that has skin in the game,
Mhm.
and like they've been through it already and they're successful, right? Because they can guide you the best way. So
And
100% agree with the mentor.
more often than not, like most of the people who are really successful are not really trying to get you to buy programs every couple days.
Nope.
Like buy my program online. It's like, no,
Yo,
careful
and
look better.
and to that point, same thing. Like fast forward to maybe a conversation I had with her 2 months ago. I was like, yeah, me young, like I'm thinking about refinancing, and reduce now I can like maybe get $100 more cash flow or whatever like that. She was like, Patrick, honestly, I could refinance your loan. It would cost you X amount. I would benefit from it because you'd have to be, paying me, but it doesn't make sense in the long term, right? I think you should wait another year or two. Like, and this is what I'm talking about. Like, you want real mentors, like not people that are just there to. Oh yeah, you want to do that? Oh, okay, let's go
Go
do
ahead,
that.
go
Like,
ahead, go ahead.
mentorship is guidance. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
mentorship is guidance. And I'm like, to be honest, my biggest thing that I have to work on over the next year, a couple of years, is patience, man. Like, as much as I like, I'm just super eager to like,
No, yeah, yeah.
attain what I'm
Everybody
looking
is, you know
for,
what I
right?
mean? Like,
Yeah,
you want to get there, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
let's just
yeah.
skip all this extra shit.
All this
Let's just
extra.
go over there. Nah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's why I understand when people say like I don't want to wait. I like I'll wait to do that real estate stuff later. I'll wait to buy stocks later, right? Because when they graduate, they're making more than their family are making, right? And they're like, I'm gonna get bottle service this time, right? I'm gonna order out every day because
Yeah.
I can now, right? Like I get that, um, and so I don't really like put a lot of pressure, but I like to say it's worth it to be able to live that same lifestyle 40 years instead of doing that starting
5
at
years.
65 and then
Yeah, exactly.
you know what I mean?
This
Like, you know what
guy,
I'm
I
saying?
got
Like,
to do all this stuff. You could have been doing that before, you know what I mean? And there's
exactly.
calculations, you guys can look it up. There's calculations that show like you might miss out on tens of thousands of dollars not investing for 5 years, whereas you would have that if you did.
It's a huge difference. Compound interest, they like to say, I don't know who said it. I don't know if it was Warren Buffett or they said it was the guy who made the light bulb. But then we found out he wasn't even the guy who made the light bulb. But anyways, compound interest is like the eighth wonder or the seventh wonder of the world or whatever like that. It's crazy, and this is why I try to beat it in my little brother's head. Like, stop buying Yeezys.
Bro, he's only gonna get
The
it when he wants
money
to. When he wants to,
is
you
like, I gotta get these Yeezys. I gotta get the flyest shirt. Like, and I'm like, I get it, but I'm never gonna stop preaching to you until you like
yeah,
because
until it goes through.
if you invested $500 at 18, it's gonna hit differently versus $500 at 21. That literally that 3 year difference is thousands of dollars.
But everybody, they got their own pace. Some people like, I'm 17, man. I'm not trying to hear what he's saying right now. Maybe in 5 years I'll start doing that.
But here's the thing, like when you realize, like here's the thing why I kind of like preach it to them. Literally, as soon as you turn 18, and before you turn 18, but as soon as you turn 18, you have access to the world. Like, there's nothing off limits. You're an adult now, right? That means you can buy a house if you have the cash. That means you can invest in stocks and do whatever you need to.
That's
That
crazy.
means literally you can start a business before that. But like, yeah, man, I just like this knowledge isn't knowledge based on age. It's based on do you have it or not, right? And then do you have the wherewithal or kind of like the understanding, and that's why mentors and guidance, having that person in the family to talk to you through it, right? To break it down to you why it's important, right? Like you can get a head start, man, like at 14, 15 doing this stuff. Get a
You
custodial account, start investing your money. Tell mom, don't buy me nothing for Christmas. I understand how compound interest works. Throw that thousand
know
dollars
that
and
in my,
give me. I know what to do. I'm gonna buy some Apple stock. I'm gonna buy some XYZ, right? Like, because knowing what I know, I probably could have graduated Stony Brook with no debt and some stock investments and stuff
exactly.
like that, and just been on the races, right? Like, or I could have bought a property in college, and then you get what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
I could have talked to my friends. Like, we all have friends that was getting money, right? So we could have been like, yo, if each and every one of us buy single family next to Stony Brook, we can live in all the units, bust it down. Then next year we set it up so that the next EOP can come through. We rent it to them. We teach them
That's
a game.
crazy. That's crazy.
Don't get me
That's
started on the master
crazy.
plan, bro.
Yo, we wasn't
So
thinking like that at that time, you know?
and no one was saying like, yo, stop doing that. Like, oh man. So that's why I get excited about this. I can talk about this all day.
Yeah, bro, but we I know what you mean, because like you talking about it, you get mad, amped up, you just want to.
I get amped up.
So like, when you got into the property that you're in right now that you
hmm
bought,
hmm
how was it? Did you have to do repairs or was it already, furnished and stuff like that?
Yeah, man. So it was good to go as it is. I do, you know, if I had went with the first one, I would have been screwed, right? Because I had to
Yeah,
do some
yeah.
repairs. But this one didn't really take a lot, right? And I wasn't gonna move in right away. I saw there was a few things that I wanted to do before before I moved in. But yeah, so I moved in now, and I took care of some stuff like updating, and it wasn't too much, right? Because everything, like when you're in it for real, when you're doing this investment stuff for real, you're not doing it to look flashy or nothing like that.
Hmm.
It boils down to dollars and cents. If it doesn't make sense, I don't do it, right? And
How
so
much
I
did you
literally
buy it
only,
for? I don't mean to cut you off, but how much did you end up buying it for?
so the property is a duplex, it's North Austin, and I paid 360,000 for it. So there's two units, and right now the same unit is going for 400 and above now. And that was only in a year and a half time. And
So you
so,
bought it for 360. It already gained what, $50,000?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And that
That
was more than it gained more than I paid on the down payment.
so how did you? I'm glad you said that. How did you get the money for the down payment? Did you take out a loan or?
No, I don't know. I just saved up, just literally like I said, like you have to have a good financial base, and literally a financial base is credit and knowing how to budget, right? Your income and your expenses. And so I was like, all right, literally, and this was even before I moved to Austin. I said, look, my rent has to be this amount, my expenses have to be this amount because I'm trying to save up X amount and I'm trying to invest X amount. And so I try to squeeze and push down my expenses as much as I can right now. So yeah, man, like I encourage everyone to kind of live, you know, 50% is like the max, right? If you're anything above that in terms of your expenses, I'm talking about your rent and all that, I would try and push that down as much as possible. Get as close to 30%, 40%. Even just a 5% difference makes a big difference,
You don't need
right?
new kicks every month. You just don't. You don't need new sneakers every month. You just don't. It just you just don't. Like like I'm a size 12. I'm gonna be a size 12 tomorrow, next year till I die. Like I don't
and
need.
not only that, Gucci's gonna come out with new shoes for you. Don't worry. Nike's gonna come out with new shoes. Yeezy gonna come out with new shoes. Don't worry. The shoes you have now, 3 years from now, is gonna be old. Don't
Exactly.
worry. Goat.com exists. StockX.com exists. You can buy the retros if you want to. Like
Exactly. And don't get me
this
wrong, I
house,
love clothes.
yeah.
Actually, like I have a deep relationship with clothes, but like I just have to. It's
It's
just
a
not
fight.
right now. Yeah, yeah, I'm fighting. Like
Yeah.
not right now. Like later on when I'm where I want to be, then it's like whatever. when I
Yeah,
got that
exactly.
disposable cash. But right now, it's just not right now. So I'm glad
Yeah.
you said that you saved up for your first investment vehicle, so that there's no debt. Well, obviously, for the down payment you saved up, but like you got the principal and the interest
Mortgage.
and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
people are paying that for you,
Yeah.
so you have.
And here's the thing. I have to pay rent anywhere because I have to live somewhere. So why not pay? So if someone is paying, if I'm paying $1,200 a month for my rent to an apartment building, why not pay $1,200 towards my mortgage that's building in principal? You know what I'm saying? Because here's the thing: if I'm renting for 10 years and I'm paying, let's say rent never changed, I'm paying $12,000 every month. Let's say $1,000 every month. So that's 12,000 every year. Over 10 years, that's 120K. That is not going to me at all, right? Versus if I'm paying that same amount and I'm paying that on a property, yes, there's interest and taxes and all that, but at least 60,000 of that, maybe half of that, is going to be money that I can take out and go buy another property with. I can't do that with
When
whatever
you're
I'm
renting,
renting.
yeah,
Yeah, and
that's
that's just my mindset with like everything. Like I don't really like. I'm like, is that gonna make me some money later? I don't buy
not
that
right
shit.
now. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, at how old were you? 2021 when you were looking to invest, and then when you actually invested, how old were you?
I think I was like 22 when I bought the house.
So you bought the house at 22 for what was it, 360K. You saved
Hmm.
up, you put down the down payment. Obviously, for the remainder, uh, you got
Finances.
a loan, whatever finance for what, 30 or 15? 30 years?
Did a 30.
30 years. So now you got this house that's yours now. Now you got a house, you got an investment vehicle, cool. So what was the process like finding tenants, to live, to pretty much help you pay off the mortgage? How did that work?
Yeah. Um. hmm So one, I didn't have to go through with this right away because there was tenants already living in it. So
Ah,
about the, yeah, like people don't tell you that like the only case where you're buying a house with nobody in it is usually if the person is selling it and it's a single family house,
okay.
or it's you know a vacant and it's beat up and stuff like that. In which case you're getting it for a discount anyways because
Anyways,
that's how you negotiate. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, I didn't really have to worry about that because there's people living in it already.
that's bro.
And
You
then
got
when
the
one person
layup,
moved
man.
out, I moved in.
You got the
Bro, I
layup.
listen, man. You gotta just take advantage of opportunities, man.
Yo, I'm so glad that you came on the podcast, man. You really showing that there's people our age that's really doing this. This is not something that old, because there's this misconception, like you always think of people who doing stocks and real estate. They're older, but that's not always true. We can start from young.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And we could really build that up to where now we're 35, and it's like, yo, I don't have to work. Like I got all these properties. Like I got one a year for like 10 years. Now it's like, you know what I mean? I'm good. You know what I mean? So what about stocks? Like, so you talk about budgeting and, you're
Hmm.
trying to make sure that, you're not spending frivolously, you're being very kind of frugal and stuff like that. What are you doing with the money so let's say, just for plain numbers, let's say you have $5,000, right? How are you divvying
Hmm.
up the $5,000
Yeah.
every week?
Yeah. Good question. So, did you check out what I sent you with the jars method?
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
and I'm explaining to everyone listening, right? So, there's a guy named like T. Harv Eker. He came out with this book called The Millionaire Mind. I didn't listen to the book or read the book, but I listened to this YouTube video of
Mhm.
him speaking about it, um, and he gets to this point on the jars method. And basically, what it is um, literally you need like 5 or 6 bank accounts. You
Okay.
can use literal mason jars if you have to. Like, this is what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't want anybody to make any excuses. I'm trying to cover up all the excuses, right? You can have these bank accounts, or you can go buy some mason jars in Target for like $3. You'll get a pack of like 8, right? And basically, and I'm speaking colloquial terms, you bust down your check, right? And so if you know, and this is why budgeting is so important. If you know for the month your rent is 1,000, that's 1,000 gone off that 5,000. So now
Mhm.
you have 4,000. Now you have these other accounts called and so that's like your expenses, right?
Oh, and
And
just one
so
more thing.
expenses would be
This is after tax. So there's 5,000 tax
yeah.
already taken out. We're not even talking about taxes. Yeah, it's after tax.
No, for real. For real. So yeah, so you know you have that down, and then you have these other like 6 jars or 5 more jars or whatever. And for everyone, like you can switch it up. Like you don't have to have that many jars, but you need to have at least four, I would say, right?
Mhm.
And here's the four: your expenses. You need to have your play money. I got excited when he talked about the play money, and I'm gonna say why, right? But then you have your financial freedom account, and then your long-term spending for long-term saving for spending.
Mhm.
So long-term saving for spending for all my travel heads, everybody that want to be in Mexico and throw the pics on a gram. This is your account that you save up $300 a month, $200 a month, whatever you can, so that at the end of the year you're like, I'm going on that flight, right?
Mhm.
And I'm gonna go on my vacation. Your financial freedom account is gonna be your 401k, your Roth IRA, your IRA. It may be the money you're saving up for your property, but it's
Mhm.
that account. And then your play money. I don't follow the rules of his play on the rules of the play account. Here's the rules of the play account. It's the money you put up every month, and you have to blow the money. You have to blow the money within a month or two, right?
Okay.
So if you got an extra, you're saving $100, maybe $500 a month or whatever, and like you know, in a month or two, you're looking at it, it's like it's at 1,000, you didn't spend it. He's like, yo, you gotta buy champagne. You gotta go all out. You gotta spend that because you want
I
to
I
enjoy the
get it.
money.
I get it. I get
I
it.
know.
Like it's like yo, you don't want to just be budgeting and like you're never like having fun. I get it. I get it.
Exactly, because it gets miserable. Because you're like, I can't spend nothing. I got this going here. I'm saving for this, and like and that's the reason it exists because it gives you that release. Like like when you go to the restaurant, you order dessert, you get a bottle. You'll order the bottle this time instead of just getting a glass or two of
Yeah,
wine, right?
exactly. There's some more.
Just water, please.
Yeah, let me just get a water.
Don't
Like,
bring that. Yeah.
yo, that's funny. That's funny. Nah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. Wait,
Um,
did I answer the question though?
I don't even know. We just vibing right now, bro. I
Yeah.
don't even,
No, yeah.
I don't even- I really want to get into this. Did you vote? And if you did vote,
Oh yeah, voted early.
you voted early? And if you
Yeah.
don't mind, like, you know what I mean? Like, who'd you vote for and why?
Yeah, I mean, look, I voted for Biden. I like I'm not scared to say that. I'm like I don't really give a shit, right? You see
Exactly.
what's going on.
Yeah. It's like,
Here's the thing. Because I feel like I see where you're going with this in terms of will it affect like my journey to success and stuff like that.
exactly.
Like uh yes and no. Largely no, but yes. So and let me say the yes part. Yes, because I understand what Biden and this party and whatever they're trying to do, right? In terms of bringing us back, right? In terms of and when I say us, I'm not really talking about me. I'm talking about the people who really don't have a voice. I'm talking about the people who make $20,000 a year. I'm talking about the people who are on the frontline workers and stuff like that. Like, I'm really voting on their behalf. Is like the responsibility I feel like, right? Like, for the most part, I feel like I'm in control of my destiny. I'm gonna be good, but when I'm gonna be real. Like, my mom talks about when Trump got into office, like literally, like she was crying and like she was scared, right, for a very large amount of time because she didn't have her green card or anything like that, right? She
Oh,
got it a
okay,
year or
okay,
two
okay.
after, but if you remember, like ICE was going through New York collecting people, right?
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah,
so that's a real life fear. And so yes, it affects me because it affects my family members and that affects my psyche, that affects my mental health. You get what I'm saying? If I'm fearing my mom, I have younger siblings, like they take her away. I gotta step up to the plate to that. You get what I'm saying? And like that changes my
Your
direction of
goals are
how
gonna
I go
shift it
about
a
my
little
life.
bit because
You
now you
get
got
what
to
I'm
worry
saying?
about that. while trying to do
exactly.
one thing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and if that happens, like I'm a person, I just accept the responsibility, like what I'm saying, and I'm gonna adapt and still get to my goal. Like I just gotta carry a backpack with more weight on it. That's it, right? But I'm gonna
Yeah.
still be on my journey. But yes, it affects me because of all of that sort of stuff. But no, like on an individual level, I feel like I have control, and like I'm just it's the same thing about cutting off Snapchat and all that, like, and not going to a party. Like, I just have to sacrifice a little bit more to get to where I'm going, and like, I'm willing to do it. If if shit hits the fan, basically.
And so Ice Cube is getting a lot of backlash, like a lot of backlash for actually working with Trump or trying to work with Trump for a platinum plan for black businesses, and just trying to get us more capital, just so that we can be on a equal playing field. I read some article that says that the average black family's net worth is like $1,500.
Yeah, the average net worth of black families is on the way to $0. The average net worth is on the
Yeah,
way
I'm
to
not even
$0
surprised.
by I think it's either 2030. It's between 2030 and 2050. I'll send you some the information on it. But yes, there's actually a website that talks that tracks like black wealth and stuff like that, and has
Yeah,
the
like it's like
economic
it goes down by a dollar
data.
every day. Every day it goes down by a dollar.
Bro.
So it's like, and then like for white families, it's like 100,000 because they own shit, man. Like that,
Yes,
they own stuff. Like they got a house, they got a car, like they own stuff. And you don't
exactly.
own your car when you're paying for 72 months, $300 for 72 months at 15% APR. Like that's not yours, bro. That's for the bank.
Like they
That's it's not
they
yours.
don't even.
That's just not yours, bro.
Yeah, and like there's reasons why it's set up like this. And I don't want because you know for everyone
Yeah, we could go on forever about that.
redlining, like we can go on for days on like why it was set up like this, right? But let's maybe that's another episode.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
for the most part, this is why I'm really excited to talk about, when I talk to people about like when you understand like even if you just understand APR,
Hmm.
like or if you try to understand the APR and even just how you're like just drilling on one thing like your car and how, you're paying 17%, what does that mean and XYZ, you'll
Oh,
start to have more
like
questions.
no, bro. Like think about it right now.
Yeah, you're like if someone breaks it down to you and to why you're overpaying for this thing and why, why your credit matters to that, like you'll start having other conversations. Like I just think we should be a little bit more open minded. Like, and it's gonna take time, right? Like,
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. It's not
some
overnight shit.
don't want to have the conversation, right? And
The talk.
I watched, I listened to this podcast. The CEO of this trading app called Doe, his name is Victor Jones. I got this from him, but it's called being intellectually lazy. And so
Mhm.
some people don't want to go the extra mile to look up what their rate is, why that matters, what their credit score is, how their credit score
Before
affects
you
their
go there,
percent. Well, yeah, they just want the whip. Like, you
yeah,
get what I'm saying?
I need that Dodge
And
Charger, that
so
2020. Need that
need that.
SRT. Yeah, I need that.
Yeah, I need to do
Cost
donuts.
though, it's not worth it. You know what I mean? Like,
Not worth it. Yeah, what does it cost? That's a real
and I
question. What does
love,
it
yo,
really
don't
cost
get me
you?
wrong. I don't want anyone to think like I'm this guy that does like I love like all that. Like anybody who knew
Bro,
me in
me too.
Stony, they know like I love clothes, all that shit.
Bro.
It's just like at a certain point, you just gotta think like I'm not in a position where I can enjoy that type of thing, right now. So you
Exactly.
gotta set yourself up to be in that position. And bro, I'm only 25. It's not like I'm 40. Like I,
Here's the thing. Like I realize even, the average like white family, like for the most part, like and here's the thing, like I'm at a tech company that there are people who are, successful, they have money. But for the most part, even those in their 30s, they're just now starting to think about investments or trying to like understand it a little bit more, right? And so and still 30 is not an like
yeah, you're
old
not.
age to get
Mhm.
started, but it's just why wait till 30? Why, when you don't know what you'll be, what's gonna be
Exactly.
what your life will be at 30, right? Just do it
That,
now while you understand what's going around you and whatnot, man.
it's like this
And same
pandemic
thing with
is
you,
going
bro.
on. Like you've had ample time to really like dive into, like if you're interested, like you've had ample time to really dive in and to really, try to understand these type of things. You know what I mean? So it's like you really
Hmm.
can't lose unless you don't care. Like if you don't care, then it's like
Yeah.
the bill's gonna tower over you till you die. Like unfortunately, like it's
Hmm.
just like just is what it is. So, but like I don't want this. Yeah, it's mad. Like nah, I don't want this to drag on for like 3 hours. But like Pat, 24, man, got his first investment vehicle. Like I'm really happy for you, man. Like to be honest, like really happy for you. You really like a really smart dude. Like, and you're not cocky about it either, which is what I really like. Like it's not like you
Appreciate it.
did it and then you took a picture. Like, look at my first house. It's my house. Like, you really, because some people do that. Like, oh,
Yeah, yeah,
my house.
yeah.
Like I got a house now and a new car. Like you really just doing it and you're on your way to really, you know, be a millionaire very soon. You know what I mean? Like I'm glad that you decided to like come on this episode, man. So like before we like cut it off, I just want you to leave us with like just one gem. Just leave us with one
Yeah,
gem.
for sure. I'm gonna give two. I'm gonna give one on like the more like the mental health side, and I'm gonna give one on like the sort of like the financial side. One, I would say download personal capital and track your wealth. Right? Do it. If you don't know where to start, maybe someone is listening to this podcast. Download personal capital, connect all your bank accounts, connect your student loans, and look at your wealth. Right? Um, you're gonna see if you're positive, right? Even if it's $1, having no debt is zero. And
Mhm.
so having any, surplus cash, you're gonna have a positive net worth, right?
So
And
you're
if you're
saying,
negative,
sorry, I just wanted to elaborate a little bit. So you're saying once I graduated from college with that $30,000 debt, I'm already at negative 30 in terms of my net worth.
absolutely, absolutely,
So
absolutely,
you
yes.
already started underneath, like you got to dig
Listen,
out.
exactly, and it's super cool. My boy Ibrahim put me onto the app, but it's super cool to see that thing. Even like I like truth, and so even if I'm seeing a negative net worth, it still inspires me to go get it. Inspires me to flip that on reverse,
Yeah.
right? And so it's just good to track over the years. Are you moving backwards or forward, right? And it's just cool to track. The other thing is, and this is what I started doing in COVID, is like journaling. Like I have a lot on my mind. Sometimes even when I'm going to sleep, like sometimes I'm just like I'm tossing and turning because I'm just thinking about a bunch of shit.
Uh-huh.
But journaling helped me to really like just get all of the thoughts out. To even like if I'm stressing over something, it helps me. When I'm typing it out, I get to curse and be me and really just get
Yeah.
it all out. And I'll be like, I just find myself funny, and then I'm like, man, I shouldn't even be stressing about this, right? Like and things are gonna be okay. So definitely like journal. Especially as Black people, we gotta have an outlet. You don't you don't have to go to social media. Don't put your business out there, right? When you put your business out there, it's gonna let people scrutinize, and then I don't think it's gonna help the problem at all. Have your circle of close friends that really care about you,
Mhm.
right? They'll tell you the hard things about you, but also journal, right? And then and get those thoughts out, and then track your wealth, man, and then hopefully in 5, 10 years you've made significant progress towards the upside.
And
But
something I want to say is like financially free doesn't mean like you're just at home doing nothing all day. Like some people think that, oh, it's like no, but now you have like responsibilities to, because now you're like a boss type leader type person. Like you got
I
meetings
don't.
and shit. You know what I mean? Like go ahead.
I know you're trying to wrap it up, but I also think it would be dope. I don't know. Let me ask you a question. Like, what do you see yourself doing when you're financially free?
To be honest with you, I really like teaching. So kind of be the person that I always wanted, because I don't know, like, I'm from the Bronx, bro. Like I don't know anyone who's really where I want to be. So I want to be that
Yes.
person for other people. Along with that, I also want to, work on a few business ideas I got. So it's like I'm free to do what I want to do.
Exactly.
I'm not
Exactly.
free sleeping all day and not, I'm free. I'm doing what I want to do at that point. You know what I mean?
Exactly, man. Yeah, I think the same way. Like I want to give back. I want to just help share the
Yeah,
knowledge and
yeah.
stuff. But I even like I still flirt with these ideas. Like, listen, man, when you have like I'm talking about surplus of money, I'm talking millions of dollars, and you can do it with less, right? I'm not trying to say that, but I kind of just want to talk about like the grand, like I can't think small. I want to think big, and that's just how I think. When you have millions of dollars, like I mean, I'm thinking about just buying land in Jamaica, agricultural land, growing fruits. I'm talking about cacao, chocolates, all this. I just want to do shit and contribute to the community, right? Like not even sell it, just there's people hungry. So and they want food and there's food growing on trees. We should take a mango, take some of these, you know what I'm saying? Like take these fruits that I'm building in this thing, right? And
That's all.
If you can contribute, if I can get farmers on the land and pay them and
That's
you
all.
know what I mean? Like just this
It's
is
really just being like
you
a
could change
person.
the world. Like
You know what I mean? Yeah, you want to be like when people hear Patrick, they know who that is. You know what I mean? It's that person of like
positive light.
leadership and like positive. Like, oh, that's him. Like, you need help, you can go to him or something like that. Just that person to kind of like, yo, I was like you. You know what I mean? You can
Yeah,
be like this too. You know what I mean?
exactly. And it's because I didn't have anything. I'm not saying I started from nothing, right? Because I know we're trying to wrap this up, but I'm like, I had
Oh
a new
God,
change
dude.
of perspective. I had to change of perspective because, you know, same dude, Victor Jones, he was like, I can't say I had nothing because that would be a disrespect to my mother who
Exactly.
provided me.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have everything, but I had everything I needed, the essentials, right? And so
Exactly.
there's some people who don't have the essentials, and I can resonate with them to some degree,
Mhm.
right? And if someone just told me the right things, I could have accelerated my life. And so it's the same thing about I have all this knowledge. It's supposed to be passed down. It's supposed to be shared. Like it's not supposed to be
And in my opinion, it's almost kind of selfish. Like it's kind of like it's like, what are your kind of like ideals in terms of like being a good person and stuff like that? All these ways to do all these things. Why not share it so other people like you can be in the same position you are? And then that's how we
yeah,
begin to start, creating that kind of generational wealth and
exactly.
transforming the narratives that people have about Black people and stuff like that.
Mhm.
It starts
Mhm.
from people who are there just helping out, just become
Mhm.
and help people get there. Not culture vultures who want to like act like they've
Yeah.
done stuff or just to try to appeal to you so that you spend money with them. Not people like
Yeah.
that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But people who
Exactly.
genuinely want to help, man. That was crazy.
Yeah, man.
That was
Crazy,
that was
crazy episode.
that was crazy, bro. Episode 1, man. Birds of the Same Feather podcast, man. Keep it locked.